Hello. It's been a while. That's the nature of things. But because of this, I figured I'd do this reading wrap-up, much like I do my What I Watched videos, and not show my face. I hope you don't mind. Plus, a lot of these reads are audiobooks, so I don't actually have the physical copies anymore. Anyways, these are some of the books I've read this year. I was in kind of a reading slump, so the progress wasn't linear, but I did still get some reading done. Just not enough to do quarterly wrap-ups like I normally do. Anyways, the first book I read was Art Matters by Neil Gaiman. This book was okay. I listened to it in audiobook form, and that was only like 2 hours, so pretty quick listen. It mainly goes over why we need art and why it matters. Nothing groundbreaking, but just a quick read. So I gave it 4 stars. The next book was another quick listen, and it's The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. This one I found a 30-minute video on YouTube and later learned that it was kind of a book, so I count it. If you don't, who cares? I'm counting it. Anything to get a win in reading. So I gave it 4 stars. Very motivational and inspiring, and I would recommend it if you have 30 minutes. I'll link it down below if you're curious. Later, after finally realizing I was in a reading slump, I turned to an autobiography audiobook. These are always easy listens, and it was a fun one too. It's You're That Bitch by Bretman Rock. I really enjoyed this one. Bretman is sassy and funny, it's also just lighthearted, and I liked it. It mainly goes over him recounting some aspects of his life, much like any autobiography. It's not deep, but it's still a fun listen. I would recommend it. So I gave it 4 stars. Later, I finally wanted to read some fiction, because mood reader. Yeah, it happens. But I felt like reading Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. The audiobook became available and I decided to listen to it. And damn, this book is something else. I hated the main character. She was a bitch. I couldn't stand her, but I couldn't stop listening for some reason. It did give me an ick vibe every time I listened to it, so do know that, but I still thought it was a great book. I gave it 4 stars. If you don't know what the book is about, it's about a woman who has a friend pass away. A white woman whose Asian friend passes away, and the Asian friend is a very respectable, great author. The white woman not so much, and basically she kind of steals her manuscripts and plagiarizes the deceased friend's manuscript or unpublished book as her own, hence the title Yellowface. And so yeah, you're gonna hate her and you're gonna enjoy it. Later I listened to Cultish. I picked it up because I think I saw with Cindy mention that she read it and liked it, and usually the things that she ends up liking I also like, so I thought I'd give it a try, and I liked it. The book goes over some of the common attributes in cults and how they get started and what famous cults exist and what cults now exist that you don't realize are cults. Very interesting listen, so I gave it 4 stars. Next book I read was Atomic Habits. Ironically, I don't want to talk much about this book. You either want to read it or you don't. If you do, you'll probably like it. Incremental changes can have a compounding effect, so it's worth starting now rather than later. Yada yada yada, you know the deal. I liked it, so I gave it 4 stars. Later I wanted to read Leave the World Behind because I wanted to watch the Netflix adaptation, so I did. The book was just okay. The tension is still there, but I did give it 3 stars because it's pretty good and the material is good enough for the movie, but I definitely like the movie more. And if you're debating on either or, I would recommend just watch the movie and you won't miss much. In fact, you'll like it more. That's it. After that, I decided to make the mistake of reading another Grady Hendrix book, and that was a mistake. I don't think he's a horror writer for me. I listened to the audiobook of Horror Store, which is a story about an IKEA knockoff store being haunted. It was blah. The best way to describe Grady Hendrix writing is more action horror with a sprinkle of gore, but not that great. I don't care for action horror. His pacing isn't there and the tension just never exists. I don't know. I give up on him, and I'm okay with it. I gave the book 3 stars, so it was a story. It's something. Maybe you like this. I didn't love it. I gave it 3 stars. Next, I reread The Hunger Games 1 and 2, not 3, because I have issues. Not much really to say except the books still hold up and are great. Both are still 5 stars, and yes, I did rewatch the movies because how could you not? Next, I finally finished a physical book, which was yay! I was actually reading. It was Getting Things Done. Great book. If you've seen any productivity channels or videos recommending books, this is the main one they always suggest, and I finally know why. It's fantastic and worth your time reading if you kind of struggle with getting things moving or done. It goes over how to prioritize what needs to get done and how to use the minimal time that you actually have optimally so that you don't have to think about it too much or be burdened by the various steps needed to accomplish a task. Kind of like when you have to schedule a phone call before you have to actually take action. Those sort of things. So it was really good. I definitely need to reread this book though, or just own it for my library because it's definitely a book I keep wanting to pick up and browse various things it goes over. There's also a diagram of how to prioritize what to do next. I could obviously print out that page, but I I just want to own the book. 5 stars. And lastly, I listened to 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It was a reread, but I did listen to it while working, so I don't know if that was wise. It definitely kept putting me in a good mood though, so I gave it 4 stars. But I don't feel the same impact as the first time I read it, which makes me wonder if I made a mistake in listening to it rather than physically reading it like I did the first time. First time I read it, it was like an eye-opener, and I took action, and I think one of the first things I did was create this channel, and it got me going. But this time around, something changed, but I don't know. And that's it. I did DNF some books, but that's not worth mentioning because you can check out my Goodreads. Pretty decent balance of ratings, but mood reader, so just kind of go with the punches. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye.